Go on. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're smelling something, it's not just because I had broccoli for dinner last night. It's because you're catching a whiff of a rebrand. You're catching a whiff of a rebrand, ladies and jellyfish. Normally when I do the Pesto Pod, I am joined by a fabulous fellow creator or guest, and we interview each other. We kind of shoot the shit. We banter, proper banter, if you will. And while I really, really enjoy that, I find that not everyone gets what I'm talking about when I say niche obsession. I find that when I look back on a lot of the pod episodes, it's me talking about someone's favorite singer or I don't know. I want to be here talking about the Lindbergh baby kidnapping. I don't know if I've made that clear. So I decided the best thing to do was to go to the great beyond the internet and ask you guys, what are you obsessed with? What was the weird thing when you were a child that you just couldn't get enough of? When you were 8 years old, what were you sneaking onto the family computer to look up on Wikipedia other than two girls kissing, I assume? The exact post I made on Instagram said, for this week's episode of the Pesto Pod, I want to know your weird niche obsession. What were you obsessed with as a kid? What weird historical event or scientific phenomenon or pop culture moment could you write a whole ass dissertation about? And then an example that I gave is everyone's classic, everyone's favorite, and I think the OG historical obsession, the Titanic. And that's when I realized the date. And I don't know if you guys have a calendar and noticed how important today is, but it's 112 years and 5 days since the anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. The first person to respond to the Instagram story and remind me of how important this month is was the user Anna Locker, Locher, Locher, Locklear, Loch Ness Monster. And then I was like, why wouldn't I talk about the Titanic? I fucking love the Titanic. There is not much about the Titanic that I don't know. When I was a child, I lived and breathed that fucking boat. I think I could go to the wreckage in a submarine and I could give you a tour, a college campus. I could show you around. I know everything. I could go down in a submarine, preferably one that is a little bit more structurally sound and not made by the company OceanGate. I don't know if it's too soon to be making those jokes. I don't know if that's in poor taste. But you know what? Let me tell you something. The sub that they made was called Titan. That's one ick away from being called Titanic. Why would they do that? Who's really in poor taste? They made a sub called Titan and they didn't think anything bad would happen? That perturbs me. I am dismayed. Long story short, I lived and breathed the Titanic. When the Scholastic Book Fair rolled around, while all of you bitches were in line for your scented highlighters and your erasers that looked like hamburgers, I was standing there with my scented highlighter, my eraser that looked like a hamburger, and the book called I Survived the Sinking of the Titanic by Lauren Tarshis. Okay? She actually had a whole series of I Survived books that were at the Scholastic Book Fair, and I nutted for those. Nutted! So here we go. I've pulled up the Titanic on Wikipedia, and me and you together, real time, we're going to dive in, no pun intended, and do some research, some good old-fashioned MLA, APA, Chicago, shout your sources, research on our friend, the Titanic. The RMS Titanic. RMS stands for Royal Mail Ship, I think. That's a fancy way of saying the boat is registered in England and is allowed to carry British mail. And because everyone in England jizzes for the monarchy, they have to slap royal in front of everything. I don't think it's actually the mail that the royals use. I don't know if the royals can read or write. I bet you they can't. I've never seen King Charles do anything except cheat on his wife or stand there like someone just slipped a finger up his ass. The Titanic is built by the White Star Line. It's a luxury British shipping company. You know that company was run by some old ass men. Smelly old men, probably. We got the White Star Line. They are in competition with the Cunard Line, another luxury shipping company. Also owned, I assume, by old smelly men. Wikipedia, the Wikipedia is giving me a little, it's a little bit like too many words. Too many words. I'm going to go over to history.com. This is also kind of stupid because everything that they're saying I already know. I know everything there is to know. I don't think you guys get it. The owner of the White Star Line is this son of a bitch named J. Bruce Ismay. And my guy Bruce is over here like, Cunard is building all these like big fast boats. It's time we start popping our pussies. We need to build bigger boats, faster boats, sexier boats, the sexiest boats you've ever seen. Boats with huge titties. They need to, the sexiest boats you can think of, we need to build them. Because of this, they build the Titanic. And because they're like racing to build this motherfucker, they overlook some key safety concerns. Do you see where we're going with this? They had these compartments that were separated by walls of sorts. And fucking all these walls were like fancy and had like electric switches or something. I don't know, guys. I'm not a shipbuilder. I'm not working the docks. I'm not down there working at the docks. What they did not, all I know is this, what they did not account for is that if the ship were to ever tip forward or backward, their little like fancy schemes here would be kaput. And that's exactly what happened. What would actually happen is that the way they designed it, if it were to tilt, would make the ship sink faster. What a bunch of worms for brains and sons of bitches. April 10th, 1912. The Titanic leaves out of Southampton, England, with plans to make stops in France and Ireland. Ireland! It's on a course bound for New York City. This ain't no Disney cruise, ladies and gents. There ain't no hidden Minkies in the bedspread. Okay, on History.com here, they have a whole article called Prominent Passengers. I'm sure you guys are on the edge of your clits, just dying to know who was on this boat. Good thing I know every single fucking name. J. Bruce Ismay is on board, owner of the White Star Line. We also got Thomas Andrews, the head builder of the ship. In the movie, he is played by Victor Garber, I think is his name, also known as Professor Callahan from Legally Blonde. We also have John Jacob motherfucking Astor IV and his slutty wife. He is the heir to the Astor family fortune. Look him up. We also have Isidore and Ida Strauss. They're the owners of Macy's, the department store. Think Thanksgiving Day Parade. The Guggenheims, the unsinkable Molly Brown. We have Sandy Cheeks, David Spade, Carrie Bradshaw, my Uncle John, the baby I gave away. Everyone you can think of was on this boat. Everybody. You know who was almost on the boat? Milton Hershey, Mr. Hershey, as in Hershey's chocolate bar. He had a ticket to be on the Titanic, and he couldn't make it because his schedule didn't allow it, so he had to sell his ticket. Good fucking thing my guy was not on that boat. The Lord really stuck his neck out for us on that one, eh? We also have a fuck ton of third-class passengers on the boat. These are the immigrants, the mistreated, the downtrodden, the disrespected, frankly. Spoiler alert, there's gonna be some injustice up in this watercraft. 4 days go by since our boy, the Titanic, our girl, the Titanic. She's a she-her for sure. 4 days go by since we set sail. Everyone's kind of chilling. People are like waltzing around, going to dinner parties, playing cards. You know, Kate Winslet's trying to kill herself. Life is as it should be, really. April 14th, 1912. Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio have just had earth-shattering sex in the back of someone else's car. Has anyone ever thought about that? It's not either one of their cars. Someone in theory, if the boat didn't fucking sink, someone would have gotten in their car a few days later and been like, why does it smell like sweat and adultery in my fucking vehicle right now? Why is there a used condom in my cup holder? 11:30 p.m. on April 14th, the call comes from a lookout tower. Iceberg straight ahead! Fun fact, one time at a party, I had a Borg that was Ice Borg straight ahead. I thought that was pretty creative. They try to turn the boat. It don't work. We got scrapage. We got contact. And the iceberg grazes the side of the Titanic. Everyone's relieved initially because it doesn't look that bad, right? It just looks like she scraped the paint a little bit. It's not that bad, which actually kind of reminds me of when I moved into this apartment. I rented a U-Haul, which I don't know why I thought I could fucking drive a U-Haul through this city. I should not. Actually, I'm not going to tell this story on the internet. I'm not going to tell the story on the internet because it results in something illegal. The builders and all the boys, they look at the damage and they're like, all right, chiefs, I give it 2 hours and we're sinking. 2 hours? 2 fucking hours? That's how long it takes me to everything shower. That's how long it takes me to shave my coochie. 2 2 hours to evacuate the biggest boat in the world? The biggest problem is that these cunt roll-ups obviously didn't think this boat would sink, so there was no plan for if this boat would ever sink. So now the boat's sinking. We ain't got no plan. There's not as many lifeboats as there are people on board. Stupid. Lifeboats, it says here lifeboats had room for 65 people, and most of them ended up going into the water half full. Dumb. Third-class passengers weren't even told what was happening. Hello? Also, maritime law states that women and children need to be evacuated first. Guess what? When you don't know that the boat is sinking, how do you know to put your sticky Cheerio-licking toddler into the fucking boat? Because you don't even know that it's sinking. Stupid. This shit is pandemonium. There's no organization, no plan, chaos. Guess who made it off the ship, though? J. Bruce Ismay. A man. Women and children first, my arse. He made it off the ship. If you've actually seen the movie, you see this scene. He, like, sneaks onto a lifeboat, and everyone just kind of lets him. Because they're like, oh, he's the owner of the White Star Line. I guess let's just let him get on the boat and fuck all these people over. He's the one who jumps on the boat. He's got a porn stash. He made it, if it makes anyone feel better, he made it off the ship, and then everyone found out he lived, and everyone bullied the fuck out of him so much that he turned into a recluse, and he never left his home and went crazy. All I'm saying is that if TikTok was around when this went down, my guy would have taken the ledge. Super rich Astor guy died on the ship. His slutty pregnant wife survived, so I guess slay for her. Both of the Strausses died on the ship because they refused to leave each other in a very romantic way. That's also in the movie. They're like the very old couple that's in the bed as the ship is sinking. It's the scene that makes me want to kill myself. Mr. Guggenheim and all of his little buddies decide to put on their best suits, and they are quoted as saying, like, we're gentlemen and we're going to go down like gentlemen. So that's crazy. I'm going to go down in my Airy Smoothies bralette, personally. I love that thing. 2:20 a.m. on April 15th, 1912, Titanic finally sinks. 1,500 people died. Only 700 people survived. What a blunder, eh? Guess who comes to the fucking rescue? Cunard, bitch. Cunard, the other company that was in competition with the White Star Line, they come and save the day. Their ship, the Carpathia, is the one that comes and gets all the lifeboats and rescues all the survivors. How's that for a stick in the eye? I guess a bunch of ships afterwards went back to the site where it went down, and they tried to, like, recover bodies. At that point, like, it's too late. Why bother? If that was me, let me become one with the ocean, bro. Let me sustain the ecosystem at that point. You know, if I am frozen solid like Mr. Krabs in the SpongeBob movie, let me be at rest. The wreck of the Titanic was discovered in 1985, I believe, by a bunch of nerds, I presume. And they've, like, gone in there and raided the place. A bunch of little knickknacks have been, like, exhumed from the wreck, and they're in museums and stuff, and a lot of them actually get sold. And here's a fun fact I learned recently. A menu was found, like, literally like a menu, like a dinner menu was found in the wreck. And it was sold in 2015 for $101,000. A piece of paper in the ocean. What if I took my Trader Joe's receipt and dunked it in a puddle? Could I make a quick buck then? The last living passenger on the Titanic was 2 months old when she was on the boat and when it sunk. And she obviously survived and died in 2009. She has so much clout for something that she doesn't even remember. Honestly, that's kind of the dream. History.com was very good to me for this. Very good to me. Very easy to read. Very much enjoyed that. I think I'm gonna search facts about the movie that I don't know. I'm gonna search little known facts about the Titanic movie. Matthew McConaughey auditioned for the role of Jack. That would have sucked. Madonna was considered for the role of Rose. Love, but oh my god, I hate that. Okay, Kate Winslet auditioned for the role when she was 19, and she sent James Cameron a rose to, like, persuade him to give her the part. That's kinky as hell, honestly. This is something that I feel like people don't talk about a lot. The acting in the movie with regards to the water is so good to me because, like, think about it. The water has to be warm. There's no way they're filming like hours and hours and days in freezing cold water. That would be like, I imagine, a health hazard. So the water's got to be warm, but they act like it's so cold. They're like they act freezing, but that's acting. I guess that's why we pay them the big bucks. Winslet and DiCaprio gave each other sex advice between the takes. I cannot describe the amount of money I would pay to be in on that. Those are two of the most beautiful human beings in the world. Holy shit. Gloria Stewart was the only Titanic cast member who was alive during the Titanic's maiden voyage. When I watched this movie, I don't know why I like thought this. I don't know if I like read it on the internet or something when I was like fucking 11. I always assumed that like the old lady in the movie was actually on the Titanic. I was like, wow, that's so nice of them to get a Titanic survivor to like be in this movie. It's not. It's Gloria Stewart. She's like an old Hollywood actress. She was not on the fucking Titanic. I'm so stupid. It costs more to make Titanic the movie than Titanic the ship. Yeah, inflation. That seems stupid. Those are not DiCaprio's hands drawing Rose. I didn't think they were. I did not think he could draw. That's also stupid. Oh my god, someone on set laced the lobster chowder with PCP, sending 50 members of the cast and crew to the hospital. What the fuck? They said that they peed in the water a lot. I mean, if you're wearing like those big costumes and you're like shooting scenes and you gotta pee, you probably gotta pee, dude. I think I could quote the movie. I think I could quote it word for word. There was an episode of like, I don't know if you guys remember, like way back in the day, it was like Fine Bros React or whatever, and they had a game where they would play like 0.5 seconds of audio from a movie and see if you could guess it. And they played a clip from Titanic, and I got it immediately. It was Jack going, "You're so stupid, Rose!" Immediately, I was like, that's my boy Leo, and he's fucking mad at her for jumping back on the boat after she was on the lifeboat. Yep, I know exactly what scene. You know, it's a hot scene too when Kate Winslet's like through being bossed around, and the guy manning the elevator like won't take her down, and she like pins him to the wall, and she's like, "Take me down to E deck." Yes, take her down. You know what's weird? I don't cry when I watch Titanic. It doesn't, for some reason, it like doesn't make me cry. I think it's very sad, but it doesn't do it. Even when the fucking orchestra whips out those violins and start playing Nearer My God to Thee, oh, that almost gets me. I also think justice for Fabrizio. You know Fabrizio? Leonardo DiCaprio's little friend. He gets absolutely crushed by that big old pipe. Feel bad for him. Bring him back. There also, this might have been like a really weird niche experience. There was like a video going around on the internet of like they're making Titanic 2, and it's like Leonardo DiCaprio being pulled out of the ocean in a block of ice and then them thawing him out, and he's like still alive and looking for Rose. If any big wigs in Hollywood want to make that, I will pay to see it. Also, I think it is so metal and baller at the very end when she pulls the diamond out of that coat. Oh fuck. He goes, I put the diamond in the coat, and I put the coat on her. And she has the fucking diamond. She is that. Oh, it's such a good movie. I don't even have a picture of him. He exists now, only in my memory. I also like when she goes, "Wasn't I a dish?" Yeah, you were. I also, Draw Me Like One of Your French Girls scenes is such an important, it's like the ghost pottery scene. It is essential to cinema, and it takes up so much surface area of my brain. So much. They're so hot. Those are two hot people. It should be illegal. It's punishable by law. I want the law after them. I want them drawn and quartered. I want them on the rack for how hot they are. That should be punishable. I think you're blushing, Mr. Artiste. And then all of a sudden he's drawing a nipple. That's a hot fucking scene, dude. That is crazy stuff. That is a steamy scene. Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on this new and improved episode of the Pesto Pod. I hope you enjoyed setting sail with me. See what I did there? On this episode about the Titanic. And my parting thoughts on the subject would be, I'd rather be his whore than your wife! Please make sure you're following my Instagram at @JuliaLeahy_. I will be periodically posting on my Instagram story. I want to make sure you guys can let me know what topics you are obsessed with so that maybe one day I can cover them very similarly to this in a future episode. Because, God, nothing is more delicious to me than diving into a Wikipedia article about something. Thank you guys so much. Keep being freaks, and I will see you next week.